gentlemen, would you please join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, All right, does anyone have any reason they need to recuse themselves from anything tonight? I do. So when it comes to that, I will just recuse myself. Minutes of the July Town Board meeting?
I make a motion to approve.
A second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve the July board meeting minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Should- At this time, are there any public comments? I know there were, yes, ma'am.
Afterwards, but as far as the noise in the community, sort of like back where Art Bassett, 2-3 years ago, I contacted Art and he contacted New York State DOT, asked what they were going to work on.
You have to stand up and actually pick up that microphone and speak.
My name is Kathy Miller. We live at 7 Pools Hill Road on the corner of Pools Hill and 82. And the noise of vehicles going over the deck on the road, Jan, have been absolutely obnoxious, especially the trucks, for at least 3 years. And I know Art Bassett contacted New York State DOT superintendent, and they were going to look into it, and there hasn't even really been done any patching. And the edges of where the deck meets 82 on both sides are really what's causing most of the bouncing and crashing. And I was just wondering if you had any idea of when the state might be working on the bridge, on the Rojan Kill Bridge.
I have no idea, but I will talk to the engineer out in Hudson and see what she has to say. Yes.
Hello, Frank Farina. I have 2 comments based on the things covered at the workshop meeting. First, I walked in when you were talking about the noise ordinance. I just wanted to point out that as of Monday, I have not seen the parrot cage or the parrot, nor have I heard it since Monday. So I don't know if you're going through all the trouble for the parrot, but I think the parrot is gone.
Maybe it flew the coop.
I know the house is for sale, but so the parrot might be gone.
And the house is for sale, correct?
Yes.
No.
So second, on the intersection, I just want to reiterate, as Mr. Boyce was saying, the slip. I deal with everybody that comes up that hill. Just if I'm doing yard work, my house is right there. Everybody that drives up that slip, you can see the fear of God in their eyes when they realize what they've done, because you cannot see left unless you're in the lane. And it's a ticking time bomb. And so I just wanted to hammer that out.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I just said, the Jane Plasman, I just said this to a few of you, but maybe it should be public. I participated in the workshop and was great to do that via Zoom. We just need to make sure the microphones are closer to the people who are speaking. And that I noticed, I wanted to give feedback in the chat that we couldn't hear some of the people speaking and the chat was closed.
Yeah, we fixed that.
So next time we'll just have to have the chat open. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, I'm Mary Stein. I live at 13 Cedar Road in Ankrum. And every time I get to that intersection of 82 and 7, and I can't see if a huge truck is barreling down at me, my heart is in beats louder than I want it to. So I'm very happy that you're talking about it and that you will work at it so that it would be a safer intersection.
Just to let everyone know, and a lot of people I'm sure don't know it or don't see it, but if you're going up this way and you stop at that stop sign, if you look across the road to the speed limit sign, if that's not lit up, there's nobody coming down that hill. So that's just a little thing you can do for now. Just pay attention to that. If it's not lit up, then there's nobody coming.
It lights up with a speed limit, with a speed. And if you can see somebody coming down, and see a speed limit, that means somebody's coming down. If there's no,
Light up from 7, just 82.
No.
it's on 82.
Yeah.
Down from down the hill, not from up that hill. It's not on that roadway. It's on 82. That's where they wanted it on.
But isn't it true that if you're going too fast, it doesn't light up?
Yes, it is. If you're going more than 40 miles an hour, it doesn't
So
light
there's
up.
that,
More than 45.
more than 45. So that's, might work, might not.
Just a little tidbit, you know, you don't have to do it just because I said so. I'm just letting you know that if that sign isn't lit up, then nobody's coming down that hill. Go ahead, Mary.
Mary Murphy. Whoa. This is a weird camera thing happening here. Okay, good. No, I don't want to see that anyway. I just wanted to take a minute to, all the last few meetings, they've gotten a little contentious and everything. And everybody comes with a complaint or this or that or something, but nobody has ever acknowledged the amount of time that Bonnie and Amy and Colleen have spent on all these things they've done for town government. They serve on numerous committees and hours of time and effort. And Colleen's gotten so much money for our town and grants. And I just want to say thank you, because nobody ever says that to them. So thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, then we'll move on to the town supervisor's report. The only thing I have to report on tonight is on the county level. Sales tax is still a little down from the previous year. Since this is my first year, I don't really know what it was in previous years, but I'm being told it's down by 2 or 3%. Also at last night's board meeting, we approved the Columbia Green Community College budget for the following year, so the college is all set. We're all still working, and maybe this probably hasn't been put out before. The county now has a law that the county and all municipalities within the county can charge a tax on STRs. It's still a working process, and I don't know how soon this will actually go into effect, but we do have that law now, and we're still working on it. We're working with a company called Granicus, who does this in other states and other counties within the state of New York. So that's in the process.
So there'll be a county tax assessed on all short-term rentals. How much it's gonna be? So it's not done.
No, it's not completely done.
all of us have to start going to classes to figure out how it actually works. And I don't know what the tax rate is, I don't know if they set that yet, so. August could be first of the year before we take effect.
Jim, what qualifies as a short term?
Well, that's part of the process that I'm gonna have to go through, because I have to work with Ed. Because
It's in our law. You're not sure if you're like.
less than 30 days.
Yeah.
Less than 30
31
days.
and over is okay.
Anyway, he's the one that issues the permit, so that's, I have to get with him. And also with Renee, so. I'll have more information in the future when they start having these meetings.
Not sure how many permits have been given out.
Well, that's the reason we're dealing with Granicus, because this is what they do. And they know where they are. So. Anyway, so that's what's happening on the county level right at the moment.
So the county contracted with Granicus to do it.
Yes.
We were talking about that last year at some point. Even the county getting involved with that, but we decided not to.
So do they go out and actually,
We don't have to.
The county's doing it, we don't have, it's gonna be a county tax, not a town tax.
Well, no, the town will have to opt in if they want a percentage of it. If we don't opt in, we won't get anything.
oh, okay. So are they kind of, they do reconnaissance, so to speak? Because I don't know that all of the short-term rentals that are, say, in our jurisdiction are permitted, like through Ed. Is that what they do?
They know who they are.
Okay, all right,
Look on,
gotcha.
look on Airbnb,
Yeah,
all of them out there that don't have permits.
right.
They
Okay,
should, but they don't. So once again, enforcement is.
yeah,
You know, even if we decided to opt out, I'm sure we can find out the ones in town that don't have a permit and at least fix that, but if we don't opt into it, then we won't get any of the tax money. And the way that it's gonna be set up is like it is right now, we get 30% and the county gets 70, and it'll work the same way with the STRs. If they're taxed, we will get 30% of it.
All right. Highway report.
We filed the paperwork with CHIPS funding at 232,911. I expect to get the payment in the mid of September. We added about 675 tons of gravel to Over Mountain Road recently, with the help of Taconic and the towns of Gallatin, the trucks. We've been assisting the town of Northeast with paving, and we'll be assisting Taconic, Copake, Hillsdale, and Gallatin with their projects when they're ready to do them. I expected our rental tractor next week, but I was on the phone with them yesterday, and they tell me that it came back from a previous rental and it needs to work, so we'll probably get it next week. And our tractor will go down to have the new mower installed at that time. We're scheduled to chip seal about 3 miles of road. Well, it was next week. It's been a couple weeks since I wrote this, but I'm probably going to be pushed back to the following week due to the weather. Our employee that has been out with the injured back, he's started back on light duty, part-time, and he's hoping to gradually work back up to full-time after Labor Day. Our new plow truck update, the chassis was scheduled to be built on 9/12. And after I wrote this, I got word that it's been pushed back to the 24th. But that's better than 3 months that they had been pushing it back. And the truck that's slated to replace is down right now. It's needs a major repair, which I've got to find the money to do. We'll talk about that in a minute. I'm looking at the townwide cleanup day on September 14th. Be the same program as usual. And some budgetary issues. My road repair budget is gonna be very tight this year. I usually have a little money left over in that to put in other lines that run short. That's not gonna be there this year. My machinery repair tab is gonna be over probably in October or November. But we do have some unexpected revenue that we'll need to put in that line. We received about $5,300 got reimbursement for repairs we had to do. The contractor caused on Simon's Road. And Ed held them up on giving them the CO until they reimbursed us for the road repairs. So that worked out well. And the one truck body that was taken off, Art had it in the expected revenue for $4,000 and it brought 10 on auction. So we've got that money. So hopefully I can cover my excess of repairs with that. That's all I have.
So I have a question. Someone asked me and I don't know the answer. So you, the paving you did this summer, the contract went out
Yes.
to another company.
Caruso.
How, the question was that, why don't we use our own paver that we bought?
Because we've been having some trouble with it, breakdowns, and I have to, they get in and get out and get it done in a very short time. And us, we have to, we've been shorthanded for number one. Number two, it takes about 10 trucks to keep it busy. And all my guys are on the paver running it. And we just, I'd have to call on other towns so much and I just don't feel right doing it, so we can never return the pavers.
So
We
we're not
do
really,
smaller jobs ourselves.
so you use the payer just for smaller jobs?
Yeah, like we recently did Roach Lane and Roach Drive with it.
Mm-hmm.
We put about 700 tons through it. When Caruso was here, I think they did 2,300 tons of blacktop in 2 days.
Okay, so
Took us 2 days to do 600.
is it actually working?
Yeah, we had trouble with it. It wouldn't start. We got it started yesterday, moved it back to the shop. And we got to replace the starter on it. We hope it'll cure it.
Okay, so it's not working. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
I have a question, Jim. Just with the new plow trucks, are you concerned at all, like, that we will have enough equipment for plowing, being that they've.
I think
pushed
once we get
replacement
this
out?
older truck, we're gonna get it fixed. I'm gonna put it in a glass case until snow season.
There you go.
And I'm still holding out hope that we'll see the new one before the end of winter.
That would be great.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it would.
Town clerk, tax collector.
Bob Barker here on. I sold a whole 3 dog licenses this past month for $38 in revenue. I closed out my tax season with the county treasurer's office. My books balanced completely. I sent them their last check this week. I'm continuing to work on the records management program with the cold storage vault. And I just received notice that we will be doing the shredding program again in September for 2 weeks. So we'll be getting the shredder barrels out. And on a personal note, I thank everybody for being so very considerate. My grandmother has been sick. And so I've kind of been working a little bit from home because I'm caring for her. And I had my wisdom teeth out. Been a little hairy. So I say thank you to everybody who's been considerate and reaching out if they need me. I'm always available on my email. And if it's an emergency, my cell number is available at any time. But life happens unexpectedly.
Can anybody put stuff in those shredding barrels anytime they want?
Well, so the way it was explained to me was the old shredder company used to drop the shredder barrels off because we don't contract it. It's done by the county treasurer or the county clerk's office. The old company used to drop the shredder barrels off they would come and then pick them up and take them. The guy retired and he sold the company. And the new company that bought it doesn't want to have to pick barrels up. So the barrels are here all the time. But I've been told that if there's stuff in the barrels when they get, if there's stuff put in the barrels in between time, there's a thought that maybe we might have to pay for it. So I tape the top of it closed so that people aren't putting stuff down in it. It's supposed to be a senior program, 65 and over. But yeah, it's been a little bit of a bumpy ride and the county is still trying to figure out. Last time they came to dump them, there wasn't a set schedule. I came here on a Monday to put them outside. Not to give my personal information, but I don't weigh a whole lot. And to lug one of them barrels outside on my own was not pretty and hold the door open. But it is what it is. It's a great program. I encourage everybody to use it. It's sponsored by the county clerk's office. And yeah, it's there for your all use.
Now we will have a report from.
Yeah.
All right, we're a little late this year. We've had some things going on. Poor Lori, my deputy clerk, Lori Weigel, started last February. Thank goodness she's a good friend of mine. Can you take one and pass it down? I fell in September and broke my thigh bone, and I was out for 2.5 months. And Lori and I conducted most of the Ancrum Town Court business via cell phone and taking pictures of documents and sending it to me while I was sitting in the physical rehab unit. And her saying, what do I do with this? Where does this go? So that's how it started. And then I had some things going on. Unfortunately, my brother passed away in February. So that kind of set me. This is our docket book for the year. We didn't have, number-wise, we didn't have a very good year last year. The deputies were down anywhere between 10 and 12 deputies. The state troopers were down about 10 state troopers. So we really didn't get many tickets. We downloaded somewhere around 271 tickets. We closed out 132 cases. The district attorney didn't want to prosecute any traffic tickets in court. So it was a 6 to 8 week lag by the time the people applied to the district attorney's office and it came back to us. Then it went back to them and then they paid it. So bit of a lag. This year the new district attorney is prosecuting them in court. So we are going through a whole bunch of old tickets also. So right now we have downloaded 186 tickets. We downloaded 51 tickets in July, and so far this month we're at 48. So basically, this year's numbers are 68% of last year's numbers. So money-wise, we were down, but our percentage that came back to the town was higher than it has ever been. It was 57.8%. So, you know, a lot of the tickets are being knocked down to what they call a 1201A, which is a parking ticket. $150 fine, $25 mandatory surcharge. The town gets 150 and the county and the state split the 25, however they split it. So we've been getting a lot of them. So that benefits the town. So we did our audit in March. I think we came out pretty well. We've done this report, and I would also like to ask the board to pass a motion that we can apply for a JCAT grant, which is the Justice Court Administrative Program. We get all of our things funded through the town. Office of Court Administration likes to give us extras. We've kind of worn out our as we call it, the shredderator.
So we need a new shredder. OCA gave us 2 new laptops. One we want to put our courtroom program on, bring it out on the bench. So we need to get a printer, a wireless printer, so that we can do our notes and find notices and receipts at the bench at court night, rather than spending the first 3 hours of the next time we're in court to duplicate everything and put it through the system. So, the lady judges would like to have a walkthrough, alarm thing. That's probably somewhere around $5,000. I don't think they'll give us that. But if they do give us, then we have to upgrade the electric in the hallway, because the electric out there won't.
So
hold it.
a metal detector?
Magnometer, yeah, something that you walk through like at county court and
Right.
stuff. That's what they want.
Okay.
So we're starting with our wish list, and then we're gonna whittle it down. I don't want to say I don't think it's necessary. It's probably a good thing. But I don't. Anyway, I will finish that sentence. So, but anyway, and Lori and I were down to 1 computer between 2 clerks for about 6 weeks. Hers took a nosedive, so we had to wait for OCA to send us another one, which, good thing we know each other, because it worked out well. So, but other than that, anybody have any questions for us? Colleen knows all about it.
Yep, so tickets are down because there are fewer
Fewer
officers out there.
And when they are out there, when there's so few, they go to calls and they go to,
Oh, yeah.
like if they see somebody driving on the wrong side of the road, yes, they'll pull them over. But they don't sit somewhere for an hour or 45 minutes and pull 8 people over or whatever. They just kind of, just to keep safety and things going. So, actually 2 of the new deputies, are 2020 graduates of Taconic Hills. So,
So the metal detector,
yes,
is that a rental?
nope,
Is
that
it-
would be a purchase.
It's a purchase.
That would be a purchase. So it would be here for all meetings, for
Right.
board meetings, for, town court, for anybody else who uses the meeting room. They have to go through it before they come in. I myself would set it off with the 12 pins and the rod in my leg that they put in September. So, but we'll see. As I said, it's like doing a budget. We start with a wish list. We want this, we want this, we want this. We're trying to find out if we line item office supplies, if we can get that this way, it'll come out of the town budget. And it'll be more money for another department if OCA pays for, our 2-pack or 2 cases of paper for the year and our 10 rolls of stamps for the year. And I think if you line item them, they are better to approve that than just saying, $250 for office expense. So.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll give it a whirl. Not really, not really. The only other grant money is the records, New York State, which we did that one grant a couple of years ago.
We did a grant, quite a while ago.
Yeah.
And got, all of the shelving and the boxes for the back vault. I'm actually thinking about applying again this coming round. It's not available. I don't think until March you can apply for it.
Right.
I'm talking into the microphone, Phil. I'm thinking about doing one as well, but mine would be for preservation of books. But yeah, they're the two big, her grant opportunity through the court and the, I forget what it's called, but it's through
New York
records.
State Office of Records Management or something.
Mhm.
So this is Lori. I've been doing the job for 24 years. Lori has been doing it probably for a year and a little bit more. We also installed, well, it's not installed. We also signed up for what's called the language line. Where we have a phone number, we call, we put in our customer ID number. And they say, what do you need? We say Spanish, we say, what do we have? Budapest and Turkish. And it's easier to communicate with the defendants rather than frustrate them I don't speak anything other than English and I have trouble with that too. Judge Flam speaks a little bit of, Spanish. You speak a little Spanish, but not enough to explain in Spanish, you know, this is a traffic ticket, this is what you have to do, blah, blah, blah. So we've used it, I think, on half a dozen occasions since we put it in, and I think they charge us like 79 cents a minute. So, you know, you can't beat it. It was recommended by Office of Court Administration that we use this vendor. Lori and I used it when we were, DSS caseworkers, and we know that it works really well.
So it's a phone line.
Yeah, it's a
Not you.
telephone, you call them up, you say you
It's
want
an
Spanish,
interpreter.
you put them on speakerphone. They translate what the district attorney is saying, what the defendant is saying, then they translate that to us. So
Right.
it works out nice, works
Yeah.
out nice. So, I think that's about the only new thing. So, but other than that, it was typical year, slow, but typical. But they're making up for it now. Trust me.
Mhm.
Oh, goodness gravy. The ladies are not gonna be happy that our docket is 17 pages for 2 weeks from last night. So, yeah, so we told them no excuses, you need to be here. And that's it. So, other than that, there's no more questions. That's it.
From what I,
Ruth.
from what I understand, a lot of what you're explaining is happening in other courts, even outside of Columbia County as well, where there's a tremendous backlog and now you're having to deal with it.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are okay with
Backlogged.
Yeah.
You know, they're coming in fast and furious. We look at it as job security, but we would rather, when we're here, we'd rather be busy
Right.
than look for things to do because that gets both of us in trouble. So, you know, we are working on collecting old fines, which we're doing a pretty good job on, and, you know, we're getting there. We're cleaning out the drawers and closing the stuff up. I found a new section on the DMV section where you can pull up very old tickets from 2000 and forward that are not downloaded, so we have fun with that. So. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Glad you're back.
Hmm?
Glad you're back.
Thanks, thank you. Glad to be back. Working on it, working on it. Thank you.
Okay, we have 4 resolutions to approve. Resolution number 25 of 2024, Town Court Audit. Whereas Section 2019A of the Uniform Justice Act requires the town justices annually provide their court records and dockets to their town boards. And whereas the Ancrum Town Court presented its records and dockets to the Town of Ancrum Town Board on August 15th, 2024. And whereas the Ancrum Town Board reviewed the Ancrum Court records and dockets and found them to be in order. Therefore, it is resolved that the Ancrum Town Supervisor will notify the Office of Court Administration that this audit was performed and will send a copy of this resolution to the Office of Court Administration.
Make a motion to approve.
Second that.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Resolution 26 of 2024. JCAP grant application, whereas the town of Ancrum Town Court applies yearly for a JCAP grant for the court. Therefore, it is resolved that the Ancrum Town Board, that the town board of the town of Ancrum does hereby allow and encourage the town of Ancrum Court to apply for the JCAP grant by October 24th.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Opposed, so carried. Resolution number 27. Whereas the Affordable Housing Committee is open to and welcomes new members, therefore it is resolved that the town board of the town of Ancrum does hereby appoint Joe Giovanelli as a member of the Ancrum Affordable Housing Committee.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
So carried. Okay, this is where I have to recuse myself. Resolution number 28 of 2024. Whereas the town of Ankrum has advertised for the position of Deputy Planning and Zoning Board Clerk. And whereas Sarah MacArthur submitted her resume and was interviewed by Planning Board Chair Joe Crocco, Zoning Board Chair Steve Olia, and Town Board Liaison Councilwoman Lutz. Therefore, it is resolved that the town of Ankrum does hereby appoint Sarah MacArthur to the position of Deputy Planning and Zoning Board Clerk effective immediately.
I make a motion to approve that resolution.
Motion made and seconded to approve.
Aye.
So carried. We will move on to what we do.
He was on a roll. I let him go.
Why'd
It's
you
all
take the
good. It's all
Okay.
good.
Report of committees and boards. Ag Advisory Council report given by Councilwoman Lutz.
Thank you. I just wanted to extend a thank you to the individuals that have agreed to serve on the council that we highlighted last month, as well as those that have filled out the Ankrum Agricultural Survey. And in the packet, there is a link to the survey if you feel like you'd like to fill it out. You don't have to be an agricultural person. You might just be interested. And we'd love to know if you're interested. And we have approximately 11 people that have filled it out thus so far. And we're going to be having a kickoff event in probably looking like September now. And if anyone has any questions or have an interest or something you want to bring up to us, feel free to give me a ring or an email. So.
Okay. Old business. We have here fee schedule changes.
We have new business.
Yeah, I don't know why we're going to new business before old business.
What?
Old business should have been first.
Oh, okay. Okay. Fee schedule.
Did we,
I think we came to an agreement on it. We talked about waiting until next month on it.
okay, at the workshop meeting, we decided to table it for another month. We need to look at it a little closer. Actually wish we'd have had the planning board and the zoning board chairman here, but we will continue on this next month. The email policy updated version. If you would. Certainly.
Is laying out the parameters for what's permissible and what's not permissible. I don't know that it was sent out in the packet, was it? Yeah. Do I? Okay. Anyway, we felt when we discussed it, that it was a little too restrictive to the town. It didn't let us, include Hillsdale, Copake, and the other Rojan areas. So we're gonna try to tweak that to make it a little more easy for other towns to, we can send out notices of what's going on, community events, whatever. So I think we're gonna have to redo that part. Is there anything else? And that's pretty much it. Yeah. We talked a little bit about allowing the email list to advertise local businesses, because I think that's really important to keep
keep our businesses going and make sure people know what's going on and their hours of operation. You know, wine tasting, whatever is happening. So I think we want to make sure one is it's not a fundraising, second thing, that's kind of how we got here is because it was a GoFundMe effort that we had to struggle with. So that's why we're re-looking at this in the first place. So I think we're gonna come up with a few good tweaks.
Do you want me to discuss the fee schedule that we
If you would
discussed?
like.
I can do that.
I think we've got to we're gonna have the workshop, and we're gonna go over it again a second time. I mean, this is like, don't want to do it the first time. We're gonna just discuss it here.
It's for.
I understand that, but that's, never mind.
People attending who don't know what we're talking about.
I understand, but we're not acting on it tonight either, so. It just is doing stuff twice in my book.
Yeah, well, that's what we do. I mean, that's kind of what the workshop does. We kick it around and then we come back and talk about what we decided. That's my view of what we should be doing.
So just brief overview is I think that most of us are in agreement with some of the changes that JL has suggested and worked on a lot. And they actually result in lowering the fees of some things where they're rather than having a blanket fee for one thing, having some things that shouldn't necessarily cost as much as that fee. We're not in the business of making money. We're just trying to cover our expenses. And their supervisor MacArthur brought up the possibility of dropping the actual overall fee for the special use permit. And I think we need to kind of discuss with both the chairs and JL a little bit more to make sure that we don't drop it too low. The reason it was increased was to make sure that some expenses were actually being covered. And we don't want to drop it to the point where we're actually running in the negative with that. Especially special use permits sometimes can be a little bit complicated. And so that's it. So that's really the only one thing I think that we really want to flush out before we approve the changes.
Okay. We will move on to new business. Sexual harassment training. Anyway, we discussed sexual harassment training in the workshop, and we were going to set that up for the beginning sometime in October. There will be that will provide that training. Climate Carnival. You want to explain that, Colleen?
Sure. We've been invited to the Climate Carnival, we being the Climate Smart Community Task Force. It's going to be held September 14th at the Columbia County Fairgrounds. There are going to be representation from, I think, all of the towns in Columbia County, as well as some vendors like Rycor and things like that for information about alternatives for your home. They're also doing a repair cafe. And for anyone who doesn't know what that is, they have people that volunteer their time that have an expertise in something, whether they fix lamps or they sharpen knives or they fix bikes. They come and you can bring your stuff to them and that maybe isn't working right. And rather than putting it in a landfill, they will attempt to either work on it or give you a way to fix it before you go ahead and throw it out. So that's going to be there as well. And we were just asking for an approval, blessing, whatever you want to call it, for us to all go, for the group of us to go up there and represent Ancrum. So that's it.
So could I have a motion to let our members attend the
I make a motion that they attend. they want to.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Are there any town board member comments?
I would say, I think the workshop worked out pretty well. Give us a chance.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, the microphone keeps going off. I think it worked out pretty well to give us a chance to discuss things without taking votes or, you know, being able to kick things around before we get into the actual meeting, but I think I like it. I think it worked out well.
My next question would be, are we going to continue to do it an hour before the regular?
Makes sense.
I like having it on one, so I'm always blocking out this one day as town board day, we'll call it. So it helps rather than trying to.
We need an hour.
Yeah, we pretty much covered everything we need to cover in less than an hour, so I'm fine.
When is the budget process gonna start? I guess. There's
Steve gonna handle that, and I was kind of hoping he'd be there tonight to talk about it.
Well, Steve and I will both be working on it. We wanted,
Okay.
we wanted to unfortunately, we didn't get the, well, not the financials, but the actually budget worksheet that we needed until today. So next week we'll start getting into it. The tentative budget's pretty much going to be what the.
Right.
Anyway, so. Yes. Okay. Anybody else?
Just to follow up with that, just if you can give us a heads up, the individuals that have budgets, that line items that we might need to work on, when you need that information, what will work for you and Steve? I'm sure
Yeah,
you don't.
well,
know yet.
we need to get from all the other departments, what their request is for next year. And work on it from there.
And I think Steve had asked about how it worked in previous years. And I explained to him that Art reached out to the individual departments and whatever committees or boards have a budget line, like Climate Smart Task Force and the Housing Committee and you all that have line items in the budget. And Art would send them a worksheet. So I think he's working on that. So you should keep your eye out for that. It should be coming. Great.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, is there any other public comments at this time? Yes. Yes. Please.
I'm sticking here. I have. Gotta turn it on. It's on. All right, who's in charge? I brought somebody with me to find out some answers on this affordable housing stuff. This affects me tremendously with employees. I recently had one that moved into a place at Hillsdale 3 months ago, basically was a rent on with a year lease, all of a sudden, like a month ago, going on the market sold. And he's having a hard time finding his place with the rental pricing. I have a friend, actually a customer from many years ago. This is what he does. He's here based in Columbia County. John Parsons, he's with the Galvin Foundation. I would like for him to be able to speak for a few minutes, if you'd listen to it, and go from there. We need to figure something out. It's not just me, it's everybody in this community that hires people, has employees, workers. And we know it's countywide, statewide, across the US. Let's figure something out here for Anchor. We need it. All right, is that okay? Step up, John, it's all yours.
I can stand back there and talk that way. You're the ones that elect. Good evening, wait a second. Here we go. My name is John Parsons. I am the Director of Operations for an organization called Galvin Housing Resources, based in Hudson. We're an offshoot of a private foundation called the Galvin Foundation that was started about 25 years ago in Columbia County. We provide housing and housing related services within Columbia County as a not-for-profit organization. So we are generally grant and foundation funded. We don't take donations from the public. We apply for grants for funding, for project funding. We build housing with a combination of funding from state financing. We do strategic partnerships with developers. We also do some private financing as well. When you look at large housing projects, they often have multiple funding sources. It's never just one mortgage with a bank that does the trick. So aside from that, we operate currently about 200 or so units of affordable housing within the county. We are based in Hudson, and we have most of our units are in the Hudson area, but we also have multifamily housing in Philmont, Chatham, and Greenport. We operate a transitional homelessness facility out in Greenport as well, where we help take homeless people and get them into long-term housing, and also try to attach them to needed programs and services so that they can be successful in the housing that they're moving into. We are the only HUD certified, HUD is Housing and Urban Development. We're the only HUD certified housing counseling agency in the country, in the county. So we provide free counseling for people on topics, housing topics, things like homelessness, issues, rental, landlord tenant issues. We provide guidance on. We are a operating member of the New York State Homeowner Protection Program, we're called HOP, which is a foreclosure prevention program for people who are behind in their mortgages and they're in danger of losing their homes. We will actually work with them, to work with their funders to find solutions, either help them stay in their homes, or if it comes down to it, exit gracefully and in a way that it would hopefully be beneficial to them. We are also designated by New York State as something called a Rural Preservation Corporation. Through the State Office of Home and Community Renewal, there's a program called the Neighborhood and Rural Preservation Program that provides funding for organizations like ours to carry out these activities. So rural preservation activities, including housing stability, community development, that sort of thing. So that's what we do. If you have other organizations that you've heard of that do the same thing as us, you've probably heard of Hudson River Housing. You may have heard of an organization called RUPCO. RUPCO is the 900-pound gorilla in the region of rural preservation corporations. They are 127 people. They run 850 units of housing, and they run a huge breadth of program, which is why they're able to spread from where their base is in Ulster to do programs in Columbia, Dutchess, Westchester, Greene, etc. We do collaborate with RUPCO. We collaborate with Chris Brown at the EDC Housing Task Force. We're working together on granting programs to do manufactured and mobile home displacement. We currently have a grant starting up to do home improvements for low-income families. We are looking at a grant for vacant rental improvements, to have landlords take vacant rental properties and renovate them and then make them available as affordable housing. We're also looking at a tenant-based rental assistance grant. That's about half done. That's going to provide us hopefully with about $1.2 million for rental assistance for people who run into hard times and they're not able to make the rent. They lost their job, they fell ill, they weren't able to, they had a gap in income for some reason, and rather than being evicted for non-payment, we can help them get through that gap. We can also help take people who are homeless but are looking for housing and help them get into housing by providing security deposits and, you know, temporary rental assistance. So it's a lot of things that we do. There's probably more. The homelessness transitional program is actually really powerful. We do a lot with people there. We work with another organization called St. Catherine's Center for Children out of Albany. They're the ones that are actually the case managers for that. So we also work very closely with Bob Gibson and DSS in helping people transition from homelessness to housing. So I have business cards in the back. I gave him a little binder of information. You know, would love to work on talking about projects and possibilities and helping you understand a little bit more what affordable housing is and how it works. It's kind of complicated. I've been at this for about 2 years after a 30-year career in finance. So I know all about one side of it. The other side of it, where government takes a play, including local governments, not just the state or not just HUD or the USDA. Where I think we're all still feeling that out and trying to figure out, you know, who's empowered to do what. So I'm looking forward to working with everybody.
I have a question, if I may. In an area like Ankrum, which is different from Hudson, obviously, there's a lot of buildings available for renovation in Hudson. Here, that's not necessarily the case. So in an area like Ankrum, would you look to buy land and then develop housing?
There's a few different possibilities, and the biggest thing, really, the biggest challenge for any whether it be a town, community, even an organization like ours, the state and federal governments put out multiple what they call notice of funding opportunities, or NOFOs, in a year for multiple programs, and you have to kind of know where to look for them. So the Office of Home and Community Renewal, or what they call HCR, the state website, also incorporates Sony May, which is the State New York Mortgage Agency, also incorporates the New York State Affordable Housing Corporation. I dare anyone to go to the HCR site and try to find the Affordable Housing Corporation site, because they have a lot of programs that we like to use because it's state money as opposed to HUD money, so it's less rule bound. But I'll be damned if you can find it. So there's a lot of it's just searching for resources and knowing where to find those resources and how to access the people to navigate those programs. When you look at a community like Ankrum, or I live in Copiague, used to live in Gallatin, after I opened you guys. Still on 7, still on 7 over there, still on 7 over there. So looking at how a program fits the community, and whether or not that program is looking to fund those types of projects. You know, usually when you talk about affordable housing, you're talking about multifamily housing development. And you're not necessarily talking about 8 units or 10 units or 12 units. You're talking about 40 to 50 units or 100 units plus. To do it on a small scale for local governments, you're finding different types of opportunities and you're trying to get crafty. There was an interesting opportunity that came out earlier this spring through what's called HOME, which is a large bulk of money that the state puts out there and then runs about half a dozen different programs with this year was $40 million that they put out to run these 6 or so programs. And it's an open enrollment until they run out of money and they close it down and then they refund it for next year. One of those programs that they came out with was a home ownership development program where you could build, You could get granting money to build up to 4 single-family residences within a certain area. It doesn't have to be contiguous, it could be in different sites. And the nonprofit could apply for that, get up to $1 million, contract out up to $250,000 per unit to build those units for affordable home buyers. And then now you have to find what constitutes as an affordable home buyer based on their income. Hopefully help them apply for their own grants, because they're probably going to need closing cost assistance. They're probably going to need down payment assistance because they still have to get a loan to pay for this house. The builder's not going to build it for free. And then we have to look at how that money would flow. And that's something that I think we all know about Habitat for Humanity. You know, they had a project down in Ancrumdale, and the difficulties that happened there, where people who originally thought were going to qualify for the loans ended up not qualifying for loans. And I've seen that with multiple projects over time. So being able to find the right fit of homeowner for those projects can be challenging as well. And it's really trying to, as close as you can, square peg, square hole, get these projects to work.
So for rental properties, do you then manage them?
So we own and manage about 200 units of property. A lot of that is all of the projects that we have the ones in Chatham, Philmont, Greenport are all large multifamily, 24 units plus. In the city of Hudson, we have a large number of what you call scattered site properties. So anywhere from a single family up to a 3 or 4 family. We are working very hard at reducing that inventory by either renovating those buildings and selling them, or we actually have one group of about 20 buildings that's lumped together under one regulatory agreement through the state as affordable housing. We're stuck with those for 15 more years, but after that, who knows what we're going to do with them. Scattered site housing is really difficult to manage as a landlord. Think about yourself as a landlord and having a rental property in Ancrum, and a rental property in Chatham, and a rental property in Greenport, and a rental property in Philmont, and 6 in Hudson. And every time it snows, you got to go take care of that, or every time a sink leaks, or every time a toilet runs, et cetera. So scattered site housing is hard to manage. It's expensive to manage. Programs that we're looking at right now in conjunction with the EDC, Chris Brown at the Housing Task Force, one of them is called the VRIP program, which I just mentioned before, which is the Vacant Rental Improvement Program. What that does is it allows us as a nonprofit to funnel funds from the state to individual landlords as an incentive for them to renovate properties and make them affordable. There are development monies available for those types of things as well. Right now, the push on the development side is single family as opposed to multifamily rental. And when you're looking at new site development, there are other types of grants that you have to look at, because none of the towns here have centralized water and sewer. So you need wells, you need septic, you need to acquire the land. Sometimes there's money out there to acquire land. Sometimes there's money out there through what they call community development block grants, or CDBGs, also through home and community renewal, that handle infrastructure issues. So there are grants that handles not just water and sewer systems, but wells and septics as well for individual homes. If you think about CDBG versus home, CDBG does stuff that's under the ground, and home does stuff that's above the ground. And you can sometimes marry those two programs together to get a complete project. But as you know, Colleen, being the grant writer, it's a lot of writing.
It's a lot of writing.
And it's very competitive.
Very.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll be in the back. If anybody wants to talk, you can give me my card. Always happy to speak with anyone.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, at this time, we need a motion, a second, to approve the warrant, pay the bills, and make budget adjustments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? So carried.
Comment on that.
I see we're already over budget on the attorney line. We've been spending a lot of money on the attorney, so
Yes, we are.
that's gonna be, a big item when the budget comes up.
Yes,
Figure that out.
I will.
Okay.
All right. Are we going to go into executive session? No. Certainly.
I have a question and a comment. My question, and forgive me if I'm behind the eight ball here, help me understand how the workshop that you had before, which I listened to on Zoom, relates to the board meeting. Is everything that's discussed at the workshop then discussed at the board meeting, so that if you don't attend the workshop, you still hear about it at the board meeting? Or not necessarily so? I'm just not clear on how those two go together. I applaud them. I think it's great that you're having these discussions. I just am not clear on how one relates to the other.
I believe one of the reasons we decided to go to the workshop was because the public could listen to what any business that has to do that could affect the taxpayer. We do it at the workshop so they know what it is before the board meeting starts, because there's no public comment or there's no motions made or anything at a workshop. It's just us conducting business.
I think that's great.
So if you know what we're talking about in the workshop, then when it comes up at the board meeting, then you can make public comment.
Okay, so I was listening to the workshop via Zoom.
Mhm.
Then I had to leave to come here for the live board meeting.
Mhm.
And so I missed, I think, the majority of the discussion around the intersection part, because I was en route here. Yet I don't hear the discussion yet. I'm not sure if it's happening about the intersection now at the board meeting. When I left, David was making a lot of comments, I think, about what different things could be done, et cetera. And so I'm just trying to understand, is there stuff talked about at the workshop that isn't talked about at the board meeting? Is it one and the same?
I guess there could be, yeah, because
Do you need to attend both? If you can only attend one, do you still get it all?
I kind of thought we were waiting for we're gonna get some communication from the engineering
yeah,
firm.
David just,
I brought up suggestions of other things we could do. I want to wait and hear what the engineering firm suggests. Because quite honestly, I would expect that what the engineering firm is going to suggest is going to include us probably trying to get grant money, and it's going to take time and money to make happen. The couple of things I talked about are immediate and we could pay for and make happen ourselves. And I think I see them other places and I can see they work. So there's no reason for us not to try those things.
Right.
I don't
I
think.
get that, but it wasn't, that was at the workshop. That's not here. And I'm not sure everybody here was at the workshop. So I'm just trying to understand. That's all.
yeah, there will probably be things that come up at the workshop that won't be discussed at the board meeting.
Is that we came up with this idea of the workshop, is that we only meet once a month. And we don't get a chance to talk amongst ourselves about all the issues that are come up during the month or that are on the agenda without we don't take any votes or make any real decisions in the workshop. But we get to kick it around and say.
So then in the actual meeting, so that we can, and that way we can better inform you, the people in the regular meeting, as to how we can get in the city to get it.
Yeah, I think that's terrific.
But it's more for us to just kick around ideas and opinion about the issues at hand so that, you know, we're talking about when the real meeting comes.
I thought the,
Communicate that much.
No, I think it's terrific. I'm just trying to understand if
Well,
you,
I thought the
should you
work-
attend both? But, because if you can't attend both, then are you gonna miss something? So that's just my,
but our real
confusion.
intention for the workshops was to discuss stuff at the workshop that's gonna come up at the next meeting, not the meeting right after us.
Mhm.
okay.
That's what I thought that was. But since this was our first workshop, it kind of caught us when we were talking
Really?
about tonight's stuff too.
Well, that
Yeah.
makes sense. If you're workshopping it for the next meeting,
And,
that
and
makes
that's for
sense.
stuff coming down the road, not
Yeah.
stuff to be at. That's the real intention of it,
Okay.
is
that
to discuss
clarifies-
things in advance, yes.
That clarifies it for me. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Now, if you're looking at the Zoom meeting, you can also print out this agenda, which you was discussed in the workshop.
okay. And the only, then my comment is that I am really glad you're looking at the intersection. Because, I go through there, I don't know how many times a week. And, like somebody else said here, I hold my breath each time. It's treacherous.
Yeah.
And, I don't know how to address it. I'm very happy you're looking at it. But it needs to be front and center before something horrible happens.
Yeah.
So thank you.
And David presented some very good options. These are all options that are being looked at as well by the engineering firm. Bonnie and I had a meeting with the engineering firm on the 6th of August. They've already done a few of they've been through, oh, I'm sorry. They've already been through a few of the projects on the scope of work that they had detailed. We expect to have the full report with recommendations for what we can do immediately at a low cost. And then what we can do long-term that would actually entail changing the roadways or, yeah. So we expect to have that report beginning of October.
Stuff already done about it. They're moving on. Fingers crossed.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss.
I make the motion.
Second.
I'm not sure what it is. Litigate,
Yeah, there's the.
litigation sounds good.
Take about 2 minutes.
Yeah. This did not get a signature. I did not get your signature. Did you not sign it? How? Okay.
Like I just said, the Colleen graphic battery, I just used the batteries that came.
Captain Miller.
We have a special battery company that the fire company uses, and they get you really good battery and they're all rechargeable.
Yeah, absolutely. What, do you use rechargeables or no?
Oh, yeah, on everything.
So, yeah, tell me.
And then we just buy like a bank
Absolutely.
and it goes on.
Yeah, well, if you can, I don't know who dropped this, but tell me, yeah.
In the peach colored shirt right there. That's my wife.
We're not. Because they ran and made it simpler.
Okay. That's-
Yeah.
There's a bunch of things
Yeah.
going on and like.
I was sitting here.
So, you know.
Are you in charge of all the speakers and everything?
Yeah.
I wondered why.
I can't hear you, hold on.
Okay, I'll wait. Oh, you have stuff in your ear.
Yeah. Me.
I wonder why.
What do you mean so low? Height wise? It's just is what it is. We just started. It's gonna be better. It's the first night of my.
It's wonderful to have.
So, a lot of times I'm on here, we'll end up built up with all and then every 30 years, instead of paying off, we find a whole lot. Yeah, so that's the thing, they're gonna restrict it. I mean, they'll restrict it to just contracting. Contractors working properly, 20 years, there's a. So there are developers, there are and as far as the big issue is what yeah, really, very nice to meet you. The thing about it is, the reason why they end up being more important than you think is by the time you stop now, that if they're gonna renovate it, then they're gonna renovate it. For that it is. And they're gonna pay it and finance it for us. And they're gonna too. We're gonna come over the product. So there's no such thing as debt freedom. And more will happen. They're always. So you're not making enough on affordable rent to pay for more than your own stuff. And that's the other thing, if you're a private landlord, you're paying taxes on that property. We're not property, you don't pay property taxes on our affordable properties. So it's sort of, and then we need a very affordable, and we can do income here, the state, the federal government, but that would say that's affordable. You know, we have very easy to come. It is, it's county based, so for one person, and then you have, and the area, 8%. It might say, well, if you're gonna build, you know, for us, if you're gonna build 24 units of housing, and it's not affordable, you know, you have to have, you know, cap of the unit, that AM. The person making that income, that's gonna be a spend from area median. So for a single, for a single person, you're talking about something that or less, and you're basing the rent on 30% of their income. There's probably more. Because now you're not factoring in what's in, you're not factoring in. It's about, I think the AMI is, yeah. So, but when you're looking at So 30% of that gross income. Less if the tenant has to pay utilities, if they're paying electric, and they're paying for heat, and they're paying for hot water. You have to subtract the your charge. That's subtract the you have to subtract for hot water. You have to subtract for electricity. So you're $500. There's basically $300. What I looked at, what I was able to find, kind of figure stuff out, was if you can find the right buyer, I think you're around here, you're better off trying to do some small single family home ownership projects, where if you have people that are making income and they're within that affordability rate, but they don't go over that price point, is at point of application. Many of these products at a point of application, they have to be below that threshold. After they're in, sky's the limit. We have people on the affordable housing that they moved in and they were almost about it. And now they've got a job and now they're making their money and they're going to make they don't have to leave the affordable housing. Right. They're there. That's the way it works. Yeah. And that's the thing. You know who did it? And I don't really know much about it. We kind of read. They built right, and they built right off of Main Street. They were right on Route 9. Yes. Yeah. So what he did, and it's like where, you know, on the Logan. Everybody loves the Logan. That's not even that, it's just over here.
All right, I can go with it. I'm just really into the shower, money.
I smoke a bit of over there. So, yeah, it's trying to get all those puzzle pieces fit to build one house is a heavy lift. That's why nonprofits like congregate housing, the foundation that we sort of spawned off of down here to both land and it was supposed to support it, full other town. They run about 2,000 units, 4,000. So they have about 1,500 unit buildings that they run. So yeah, so the president of the Lantern organization is also my boss. Oh wow. Because he's also supposed to be running this one, but he's too busy running that one and he's too busy running that one and trying to build 540 units. Like we're building right now.
For your battle person? We just need a bunch of double A's, but David said you have like a chargeable guy, deal, or they more like doggy batteries.
No, we get, we don't have like rechargeables, because they tell us not to use them.
Right, I don't know.
Because
Yeah, they run.
I just go, we did have, like, I go to for my, I think he's probably talking about my AED batteries and my lift batteries.
Oh, not little battery, yeah, one's gonna get a bunch of good Duracells in it, because I'm just.
They tell you not to use Duracell.
Really, why?
In my packs, in my scrap packs,
Right,
they said don't use Duracell in my
what did I tell you to use?
Energizer.
Oh, okay.
And they said that for my, my alarm system, I have Duracell on there, and they said don't put in Duracell.
Energizer? I don't care, I'll get it, it's fine. I just,
I
you
go
know,
to Sam's.
we just got, what I was gonna get, we just got these and I'm just using the
They
ones
do
that
look
came
like
out
the
of,
Bob Barker.
I just got them, they came out of the box of the thing. and they're all crappy, you know, like.
Oh, yeah,
Chinese.
they're like
These are-
Sony or whatever. It's
Sony, they're like golden power. I figured they would last one meeting, because we just bought all this stuff, I didn't have time to get batteries. Figured the batteries would last one meeting.
Yeah, I think he's talking about my other battery.
Okay.
I just had to buy a little battery for the pool.
Oh, so those are real batteries. Yes, that's real. Yeah, these are just. You
Yeah,
know,
I go to.
that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna buy like. Well, that's okay. Motion to. You can't do anything. I gotta start the Zoom. I'm gonna talk into the microphone.
Where are these kids keep setting
Why
you
don't
off,
we
shutting
have
off?
somebody-
These are the batteries that came with the system.
Is that what it is?
All right. Topic council. Hold on.
Oh, it's.
Hook us up, Phil.
What's the picture?
I'll entertain a motion to. Oh,
Close it.
Carol scared me. Close the executive session.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? So carried.